I'd like to share my story and try to understand what could drive a person to behave in such a way. Initially, I didn't want to discuss it personally, but let's go through everything step by step. Firstly, allow me to introduce myself. I'm a 30-year-old department head at a large retail company. I take care of myself, appreciate fragrances, visit barbershops, and engage in regular physical activities. I've always had a lot of female attention and never experienced rejection from any of them. However, I hadn't been particularly inclined towards serious relationships until I met someone who changed everything. One day, while dining in a restaurant, I noticed a beautiful blonde woman sitting alone at the next table, sipping on a martini. It was a weekday, and she seemed decent and professional, perhaps unwinding after a long day at work rather than seeking any adventures. I don't know what compelled me, but I approached her table with my coffee. Her name was Tatiana, and she also held a respectable position in an office. That day had been tough for her, and she decided to relax a little. We initially talked about work, but soon our conversation ventured into more personal matters. I found myself incredibly drawn to her. Not only was she well-groomed and attractive, but she also possessed wit and intelligence. We hardly ever parted ways from that moment on and quickly decided to live together in her apartment for convenience sake. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, and I started contemplating a more serious commitment. However, an unexpected twist occurred. Tatiana's job required her to embark on business trips to Moscow, which is located 450 kilometers away from where we reside. Every month, we have to spend a week there. It's necessary, although it doesn't feel that way. She's not tense, we don't have children, and her car is fast, allowing her to quickly reach her destination. Everything seemed normal at the time, but looking back, I realized that perhaps I should have been more cautious. One day, Tatiana called me to say, "Andre, I went to Moscow and I can't find my car keys." "Have you seen them?" "No, I haven't," I replied. "Well, never mind. I'll take a spare set. Let me know if you find them. Goodbye, kisses." She left, and that evening, while I was shopping for sneakers, I found her lost keychain in one of them. It was unmistakable with its long, gold design and shiny stones. The kind of keychain that girls typically like. By some strange coincidence, I clicked on the auto start button, even though my car model and key fob were different. To my surprise, the car started, the key fob beeped, and a familiar image appeared. I was left in shock, unsure of what to think. In a daze, I stepped outside and tried to gather my thoughts. The car must be within signal range, meaning that Tatiana hadn't left, or perhaps she had taken a train. Why didn't she inform me? Could something have happened? I searched all around the house, but couldn't find the car. Across the street from our apartment building, several cottages stood. Since I had already checked the neighboring yards to no avail, I decided to investigate if the car was in someone else's yard. It was then that I started to suspect something was wrong. I spotted Tanya's red parka in the third cottage. Imagine my state of mind during that moment. I didn't confront her or ask any questions. Instead, I simply hung the key fob on the gate handle, returned to the apartment, packed my belongings, and left, making sure to turn off the mailbox. It was a classic exit. That's the story of our love. But the most intriguing part is that I later learned through mutual acquaintances that her lover happens to be the father of her former classmate. How about that? I still don't understand why she felt the need to do that. We had a normal and fulfilling intimate life. I am attractive enough, and our finances were in good shape. So why would she betray me in such a way? Or perhaps, what was she using me for? I could understand if the situation were reversed, but for an honorable man to have a lover seems completely senseless. There are more questions than answers, and I never expected something like this to happen to me. By the way, she didn't even bother to call or write anything in her defense.